All right, everyone, buckle up because today we're diving into something truly mind-blowing. Ever thought about actually seeing history happen? Not just reading about it, but really witnessing it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that captures the imagination, isn't it? Being able
Yeah.
to peek back through time.
Totally. Well, get this, there's this story about a device called the Chronovisor, and it supposedly could do just that. The idea popped up in the 1950s, and the guy behind it was this Italian priest, Father Pellegrino Ernetti.
Now, that's an interesting combination. Priest and scientist all rolled into one.
Oh, yeah, definitely not your average inventor. Anyway, the chronovisor wasn't about time travel in the typical sense, like hopping in a time machine. The idea was that it could capture some kind of residual energy, like echoes of light and sound left over from past events.
It's based on this concept that the past leaves a trace, an imprint that we might be able to tap into.
Right, like imagine pointing this thing at, I don't know, the signing of the Declaration of Independence and actually seeing it happen.
A front row seat to history. The story really gained traction in the 1970s, but it really went viral after this book came out in 2002, Le Nouveau Mystère du Vatican, which translates to The New Mystery of the Vatican.
Ooh, Vatican mystery, that's gonna get people's attention.
It definitely added to the intrigue. The book was written by another priest, Father Francois Brun, and that's where a lot of the really juicy details about the chronovisor came out.
Juicy indeed. Because Arnetti didn't just claim to see everyday events, he specifically said he witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Now, that's a claim that's going to make headlines, and of course raise a lot of eyebrows in the process.
No kidding.
Oh,
And to make it even more out there, he claimed to have worked on this project with some pretty big names in science.
mhm.
We're talking Enrico Fermi, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist, and Wernher von Braun, the rocket scientist.
If true, that would be a pretty impressive team to have assembled.
Right. So you've got this device that can supposedly see anything that's ever happened, and it was created by a priest who might have been working with some of the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century. The question is, where is it now?
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question.
According to the story, it's tucked away somewhere in the Vatican's secret archives. It's like something straight out of a Dan Brown novel. Secret Vatican archives, ancient technology. It just screams conspiracy.
It certainly plays into that fascination with hidden knowledge, doesn't it?
For sure. But here's the thing, and it might seem obvious, there's absolutely zero physical evidence that any of this is true. No chronovisor has ever been shown to the public. No independent scientists have verified it. Nothing.
Which is why the scientific community, by and large, dismisses the entire story.
Mm,
The way the chronovisor is supposed to work just doesn't align with our current understanding of physics in the universe. It's a really cool idea, but the science just isn't there.
It does make you wonder, though, why this story has persisted for so long. Why does it capture our imagination so much?
There's something about peering into the past, witnessing those pivotal moments that really resonates with people.
So let's break this down. We've got a device supposedly built in the mid-20th century, a priest inventor, a team of superstar scientists, at least according to the story, and the claim that they were able to witness some of the most significant events in history, like the crucifixion.
And then, of course, we have this whole mystery surrounding the Vatican and their supposed possession of the chronovisor.
A mystery that's fueled by the complete lack of evidence, of course.
Right. It's a story built on claims and anecdotes, but without any concrete proof to back it up.
But that hasn't stopped people from speculating. I mean, if the Vatican did have this time-viewing device, wouldn't that be huge? It could potentially rewrite history books, change our understanding of religion. The implications are mind-boggling.
It would be a paradigm shift on a global scale. And yet there's been complete silence from the Vatican on the matter. They've never even hinted at the existence of the chronovisor.
Which some people see as more evidence that it's real, like they're covering it up.
Right. The lack of denial becomes its own kind of confirmation in some people's minds. It's classic conspiracy theory trope.
But hold on a sec, didn't Arnetti actually offer some evidence for the chronovisor?
He did. Most famously, he produced what he claimed was a photograph of Jesus on the cross taken directly from the chronovisor.
A photo of the crucifixion? That would be incredible if it were true.
The problem is, it wasn't true. It turned out that the image was just a reversed copy of a popular postcard depicting a religious statue.
Oof, that's gotta hurt the credibility.
It was a pretty significant blow to Arnetti's claims. It suggested either a deliberate attempt to mislead or, at the very least, a pretty poor grasp of what constitutes valid evidence.
And wasn't there something about a lost play?
Yes, that was another piece of evidence Ernetti offered. He claimed to have used the Chronovisor to witness a performance of a lost Roman tragedy called Thyestes by the playwright Quintus Ennius. He even produced what he said was a transcription of the play.
Wow, so he could see plays from ancient Rome? Talk about a time machine.
The problem is, when experts examined the text, it didn't quite match up with what we know about the language and style of that era. It seemed more like a modern interpretation than a genuine ancient Roman text.
So two major pieces of evidence, both debunked.
Pretty much. And then to make things even more complicated, Ernetti himself made a deathbed confession.
A deathbed confession. Okay, this is getting good. What did he say?
Well, while he maintained that the chronovisor itself was a real invention, he admitted that some parts of his story had been fabricated. He didn't specify which parts, but the admission itself throws a lot of doubt on the whole thing.
So he basically admitted to making some of it up.
That's the gist of it.
But he still insisted the chronovisor was real. That leaves things pretty open to interpretation.
It does. Was he genuinely convinced that he had built a time-viewing device, or was he just clinging to his story until the very end? It's impossible to know for sure.
It's almost like he planted the seed of doubt even while admitting to some deception. It makes you wonder about his motivations, his state of mind.
Right. Was he driven by a sincere belief, a desire for fame, or something else entirely?
Now, there's this concept that gets tossed around sometimes, the idea of a cosmic DVR, the idea that time itself records everything, and that we might be able to access those recordings somehow. Is there any actual science behind that?
It's a fascinating concept, and there are some interpretations of quantum physics and electromagnetic theory that venture into some pretty wild territory. But the idea of a straightforward recording of the past that we could just rewind and watch isn't really supported by mainstream science.
So the science behind the chronovisor, at least as Ernetti described it, is pretty much fantasy.
It seems that way, yes.
Okay, so the chronovisor itself might be a bust, but there's this other really strange detail. The alleged Vatican decree forbidding the development of time-viewing technology.
Ah, yes, the decree. That's another element that adds to the mystique of the whole story.
Because why would the Vatican issue a decree against something that doesn't exist?
It's a good question. Some people argue that it suggests the Vatican knows more about time-viewing technology than they let on. Maybe they've actually seen the chronovisor or something similar.
Or maybe they're just trying to control the narrative, prevent any potential chaos if people start believing in time travel.
It's also possible that the decree itself is just another layer of the myth, a way to make the story more compelling.
It's like a forbidden knowledge kind of thing. The more they try to suppress it, the more people want to believe it's real.
Exactly. It plays into that human fascination with secrets and conspiracies.
The Chronovisor story is just one example of our broader fascination with time travel, isn't it? We see it everywhere in movies, books, those supposed photos of time travelers popping up in old pictures.
Oh yeah, we're obsessed with time travel. The idea of bending time to our will, seeing the past or the future, it's a theme that just won't go away.
Maybe it's because time is such a fundamental part of our existence, and yet it feels so beyond our control.
I think that's part of it. We're bound by time, but we long to break free from its constraints.
So, was Ernetti a visionary who stumbled onto something truly groundbreaking? Or was he just a really good storyteller who spun a tale that captivated the world?
It's a tough question to answer definitively. The lack of evidence leans heavily toward the latter. But then there's his deathbed confession, where he admitted to fabricating some details but still insisted that the chronovisor itself was real.
It's like he wanted to keep the mystery alive, even in his final moments. It's a story that really makes you think.
It does. It makes you question the nature of truth, the power of belief, and our enduring fascination with the mysteries of time.
So here's something to ponder as we wrap up. If a device like the chronovisor did exist, and I know we've talked about the lack of evidence, what single historical event would you choose to see?
That's a great question. It really gets you thinking about the potential impact of actually witnessing the past. Would it change our understanding of history? Would it challenge our beliefs? Would it be awe-inspiring or terrifying?
Yeah, and what about the ethical implications? Would it be right to observe these events without interfering, even if we had the power to do so?
It's a Pandora's box, isn't it? The ability to see the past could be both a blessing and a curse. It could provide incredible insights into who we are and where we came from, but it could also shatter our illusions and upend everything we thought we knew.
It's a lot to consider. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the fascinating and frustratingly ambiguous story of the Chronovisor. Be sure to follow or subscribe to the show, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Until next time.
See ya.